It's our reality, just your average family, trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life. Believe it's our reality, just your average family, trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got Thundermans Season 3, Episode 15, Dog Day After School. This episode starts off with Billy and Nora saying that they need Max's help. Max says Nora says Nora says they borrowed Barb's tablet and brought it to school without asking, and their teacher took it away. Clauso says, sounds like they'll be in trouble if Barb finds out. Barb! But literally Nora shuts him up. And also, thank you for all the views from the video last time. I got up to 100 or 300 views, and I never get that sometimes. But anyway, aside from that. So, yeah. Nora says, this is serious, Clauso. They're supposed to take care of Blobbin's bulldog doggin tomorrow. Billy says, yeah, if Barb finds out the school has her tablet, they'll never get to dog sit. So what do? Max says, huh? Guys, to be honest, he was not listening to anything they just said. Nora says, focus, there's a dog on the line. Max says, alright, but first, let him finish his science experiment. We know that Animaliza can okay, I don't know how to do it in an Australian accent. We know that Animaliza can, I'll do my own voice. We know that what the Animaliza does to humans. But what does it do to animals? The wild animals. Billy says, yeah, their problem can wait. And Max says, prepare yourself, as we pick up where Mother Nature left off. Max uses the Daymeister to turn a raccoon human. Max says, science! Nora says, are they too close? He looks crazy. Max says, only aggressive around trash. Clausen says, unless you're carrying a big garbage bag, they're totally safe. Phoebe comes out a big garbage bag and Clausen says, uh-oh. Raccoon says, give me that trash. And Phoebe's like, rude garbage man ever. Okay, Phoebe? Yeah. Phoebe is dumb for this opening. Nora says, change it back, Max. Max says, he will after it attacks. They say, Max, and Max changes it back. Phoebe's like, that was a raccoon? And Max says, no, that was science. After the opening, in the A-plot, Phoebe says, how did Max even get his hands on the Animalizer? I thought Hank installed a new security system. Max says, yeah, but the facial recognition isn't so sophisticated. Literally, he has a face on his belt. He has a face on his stomach that scans, and the security system thinks that's Hank. And says, looking good. So yeah, Hank, you have a terrible security system if anyone can just scan it and they'll think it's you. That's terrible, bro. That's terrible. That's terrible. Nora says, how are they going to get Barb's tablet back? Max says, lucky for them, he has a plan. Phoebe says, it involves stealing, doesn't it? Max says, it doesn't involve stealing. It is stealing. Yeah, it is stealing. He says, the kids aren't committing a felony. Just give your teacher a basket full of cookies and she'll apologize and see how mature they're acting and they'll give it back to them. Max says, her plan is boring. His plan is ski masks. Nora says, they're going with Phoebe's plan. Billy says, yeah, Max peeked at the raccoon. On the B plot, Chloe says, she can do this! And she's twirls. Hank says, or either that, Chloe needs to pee. Doing the pee, or Chloe's doing the pee dance. Chloe says, she wants to do gymnastics. We never hear about this again. Just roll with it. Barb says, how can they say no to that fit? Of course she can do gymnastics. Chloe says, yay! And starts doing cartwheels. Phoebe says, gymnastic class. Are Hank and Barb ready for that? Barb says, they'll be fine, Phoebe. Then Phoebe says, yeah, sure remember Saturdays that turned into the Hank and Barb show. Barb says, Hank, could you talk to your daughter? And Barb leaves. Hank says, he'll handle Barb. And Phoebe's like, who can handle you? And then Hank's like, who can handle you? And Hank runs away. Meanwhile, in the A plot, Blobbin attacks Phoebe. Phoebe attacks Blobbin. Phoebe attacks Blobbin because she thought he was a raccoon man. Blobbin says he gets out a lot, and he calls Doggin. Doggin shows up on a skateboard. Phoebe says she's cute. She wasn't a she before. Remember in Parents Don't Understand where Blobbin was always calling his dog Doggin a dude? Yep, now she's a girl for no reason. This has to be a goof, but they do it throughout the entire episode, which means that it was just written that way. But how can Doggin switch genders between her first appearance and her last appearance? Between her first appearance and this appearance? How can Doggin switch appearances? Switch genders. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that they just call her a girl, despite the fact that the last time they were calling her a dude, doesn't make sense. Last time, I don't understand, they called her a dude. But now she's a girl for no reason. Yep. Was it what? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Phoebe says she's cute, and Blobbin says she's like her dad. She's him. And Phoebe says, bark if you're scared. If you want, bark once if you're scared. Phoebe says, be sure Billy Nora get these care instructions and her favorite doggy treat. He's gotta get back to Blobco, which I'm guessing he bought that place using the Great American Blob's money. The All Great American Blob's money. His sciences are close to perfecting text traveling. Unfortunately, it's a bit ticklish and he text travels away. Billy and Nora pet Doggin. And Phoebe says, how did it go with their teacher? Billy says, awful. Phoebe's apology idea backfired. Nora says, yeah, the teacher thought the cookies were a bribe. And she's now calling Barb today. Max says, that's what you get for taking advice from Barb Jr. Phoebe says, is she Barb Jr.? Who's Barb Jr.? Is she Barb Jr.? Nora says, yeah, they call her that when she's not around. Or they write it in secret. And then he writes something to Nora and she says, that's so true. Whatever she said. We don't know. We didn't see what he wrote. Hank tells them that they're taking Chloe to gymnastics because Chloe wants to. to go. Barb asks where a tablet is, but they say no. Okay. Can't Barb just get it replaced? We had literally a whole episode where she was buying new stuff and everything she lost. I guess that thing doesn't matter anymore. Can't she just replace it with a new tablet? She literally had a whole episode, a whole B plot where she was replacing replacing her stuff with new stuff that she lost. But I guess because this is Chloe's B plot now instead of theirs, they technically don't have to. Barb just completely forgets that she did that. So Barb says they'll just turn up. Like, girl, you completely forgot that you could just go to the store and buy a new one. You literally had a whole B plot last time where you did that. Yeah. In No Country for Old Mentors, Barb literally did that same thing. Yeah. But the teacher calls, but Phoebe says she's getting it, saying she's suspecting toe fungus for Max. Phoebe answers, and she uses an Irish, and she puts the phone, she says, Irish Barb. But I'm not going to use that voice. Of course, I'm going to use my great Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Oh yeah, totally. I am honored. La la la. I am honored. I love the episode I could use my totally, like, oh yeah, voice, but totally my new Arnold voice is so amazing. La 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 la. Yeah, Phoebe said, yeah. Phoebe says, Barb Jr. is no more. It's now fun, Phoebe. And she again answers the phone. Phoebe says she's got their tablet back, but bad news is their teacher is coming over to meet Barb. Meanwhile, the B-plot at Flippin' Tot Gymnastics, which is a terrible name, Barb says Chloe hasn't done anything all class. Maybe they should join in to make her feel comfortable. Hank says, yeah, for Chloe. Or like a minute or two for Chloe. Hank asks Chloe why she isn't jumping around like she does at home. Chloe says she doesn't wanna. And Barb says, how come it'll be fun. Watch Barb and Hank. They start doing flips and getting on top of each other. They say, thundermans. And Coach Gibbons says, that was fantastic. They think they could do more for everyone to get the kids into it. Barb says, sorry, Coach, but we're not going to ruin this B-plot. I mean, they're not ready. They're not dressed for the occasion. Then they rip off their clothes to reveal gymnastic outfits, which they, for some reason, have. See, it's right there. You can see in the background that they have them on in that scene. But here, it's never explained. It's explained later, but right now, I don't know how they got them. But anyway. Saying now they are. Meanwhile, in the A-plot, Nora asks Billy if he can play with doggin. How can you play a doggin at a time with it? Billy says, because this is the last dog they'll ever see. By the time they're done being grounded, cats will have taken over the world. Nora says, no one's going to get grounded. They're gonna use the animalizer to train Doggin to be Barb. Max says he likes it. Do they need a dad? He has a possum in the backyard sitting around doing nothing. Phoebe says, stop joking, stop talking crazy. Now let's turn Doggin into their mom. Phoebe says there's nothing on the list that says he can't turn Doggin human. Yeah, she turns Doggin human, and oh boy, is Nicole Sullivan one of the worst actors I've ever seen. She is not bad, but she is not funny. That's the main problem with this episode. It is not funny. It is not funny. They really got an actress like Nicole Sullivan, who's been in great television shows, and they made her not funny. That's the main problem I have with this episode. The Doggin, as a human, talks and acts like a good character. But the problem is, nothing that she says is funny. The laugh track says, the laugh track tries to make you think that that Nicole Sullivan is, I think that's her name, trying to be funny. But guess what? She's not. Nothing against her or anything she's been in, but this show really made her non-funny. Like, we'll get to it. And we'll get to that weird laugh tracking moment. Okay, yeah. I'll get to how she's not funny, but yeah. Human Doggin says, "Whoa, she feels so tall, and the house smells like bologna." Not buying it. Max says, "Let's see these treats," and Doggin sits down and gives, and they give her the treats. Nora tells Doggin to shake hands, and Doggin says, "Wow, fingers are fun." Phoebe says her name is Barb, and she wants her tablet back. Max says, "Really, Phoebe?" And Doggin says that, and says, Max says, "She did so good." Cut. Max says, "Doggin did so good, and remember what he taught her." Yeah, she's their mom, and Phoebe's a butt. The Doggin freaks out by a doorbell, but Phoebe by a door, but Doggin calms her down. But Phoebe calms Doggin down, and Max greets the teacher. The teacher says she's finally to meet Barb, and Doggin sniffs the teacher. They've got 2 strikes on not being funny. That is not funny. It's just weird. I know when things are funny in shows that Max and Chloe and Mrs. Wong always get me a laugh. And I'm glad Mrs. Wong is in this episode because again, this episode is not that good. And not even Nicole Sullivan can save how kind of not funny she is. It's not me. I'm not saying, oh, Nicole Sullivan's bad. She's not funny. It's just that this episode doesn't give her much to work with. It's just, she's a dog. She has dog things. Laugh. But the problem is that the dog things that she does is meant to be funny, but it's not funny. The laugh track may laugh and say it's funny, but it's not. The laugh track may laugh. But anyway. Yeah. Phoebe says, "Why don't they sit down?" Then Doggin sits on the floor. Nora says, "They love staying on the ground. Those wacky thundermans." Then Doggin says that her name is Barb and she wants her towel back. She gives it to her, saying like she feels bad she took it, but Billy and Nora were not listening. But she warned Billy and Nora to put it away, that she had no choice. Doggin says, "Phoebe's a butt." Yeah, all because Phoebe is shaking treats and Doggin's going. And she says, "Phoebe's a butt." Phoebe says, "Yep, Barb, Phoebe's a butt because she forgot the appetizer." The teacher says she has to go, and Barb gives her tablet back to Barb, and Barb Doggin bites it. And Nora takes it back, saying sorry she has to go. Max says, "Or stay. Barb has a lot of tricks." Nora says, "Let's the teacher out." Max says, "You can't believe fully." When Phoebe pulls this off, thundermans learns them to blob and calling, and then Nora distracts Doggin with meat so they can hide her. Blobbin says how Doggin says she's a really Max. How's Doggin? And Max says she's a real lady. Blobbin says he sees her having a little snack, but remember, Doggin goes destructive when she eats meat. Phoebe says meat isn't on the list, and then Blobbin says turn it over, and then they see a gigantic no meat sign, and Blobbin says this brick that he has is all that's left. That's all that's left of Blobbin's steak and karaoke bar. It's a reminder: never give doggin meat. Anyway, glad things are going well. Bye. Doggin starts eating chicken, and Phoebe says, don't panic, they start to get the chicken away from Doggin. Billy super speed but gets ripped to shreds. And Billy says, another bad idea from Fun Phoebe. Doggin says, all done now. She needs more meat. And Doggin runs out of the house. He says, whoa, she runs fast. And Max says, who's having fun as much as he is? I'm not, because this episode is not funny. Not even Max, who is the funniest character in the show, could make this episode fun. But you know who could? Mrs. Wong, of course, because Mrs. Wong's in this episode. Thank G. This episode's terrible. I don't know who thought, let's make Nicole Sullivan a dog was a good idea for an episode premise, but it's not, because she has no funny delivery. I thought I liked this episode again. I thought I did, but upon watching it and scripting it, I realized it's not. This episode kind of sucks. Like, the whole premise is, oh hey, Nicole Sullivan plays Doggin, for some reason now female dog, even though she was a male before. Just go with it. And now she's a human. But the not funny part about it is that they took a probably funny actress. I saw her. The only thing I've seen her in is in Let It Shine from like years ago, which I didn't even know it was her. But now watching her in this again, she's just not. They just took all her they took all of her humor and was like, yeah, you're a dog now. We're gonna make you act like a dog, but we're gonna trick the audience into believing it's funny when it's not technically. The only funniness about this is the B plot, and that kind of gets a little overhanded at the end. And Mrs. Wong is great, but anyway, I'll get back to it. Hopefully next episode's way better. At least that episode doesn't have Doggin as a human. And doesn't waste Nicole Sullivan's talents on a show like this. Which I like the show. But still, did they really have to waste her talents on this? Yeah. Phoebe says that Nora says they've looked everywhere, and Max says Max has to help them find Doggin before Bobbin finds out. Comes back to pick her up. Max says, "What? Why should he? It's all Fun Phoebe's fault." Phoebe says, "Oh, or is it that the fault of the diabolical genius who's seen here on her phone disabling Hank's security system?" Max says, she got him. That's a good picture. Can you send it to her? Phoebe says, quit joking around. He's going to help them. Doggins never been a human before, so who knows what she's up to. Cut to Doggin saying, must find meat with her mouth opening like she's on a high. With her mouth open like she's just got done doing drugs. Again, still not funny. Still not funny. Just the fact is that they make the actress look like that she's just got done doing drugs doesn't help the episode any better. Wow, I'm really not liking this one. Please give us back to... Yeah, meh. But Doggin says must find more meat, and Nora says she really thinks she can find something that might help them track her down. It's a barcode for the UPS tracker for Doggin. Max asks the Thunder Monitor to help them find Doggin. The Thunder Monitor says Doggin is entering Splatburger. They see a Mrs. Wong commercial and they scream and leave. Meanwhile, back in the B plot, thank you. Hank and Barb are still doing gymnastics while Chloe is obviously seen upset about this because her parents are taking away her time to shine. which kind of makes them seem to be jerks. Because they came there to support their daughter, but some guy asked them to help, and they take it too far. Yeah, Barb says, they're the thundermans. Chloe says, Mommy, Daddy, she's ready. But Barb says, oh, in a minute. They think the kids want more tumblemans. Barb tells Chloe to get off the mat, and she literally pushes her daughter out off the mat. What a great mom that is. Literally, I agree with Chloe. I was literally upset that literally they did this. How dare they do it to my Chloe? My new TV child, Chloe. Yeah, I did have a TV child, Sarah Lance, years ago, but now I have a new one, Chloe, because she's the best. I had TV child Sarah Lance like 2 years ago. I wish that ended up to get a proper ending, but at least, like, Kate Lots, but I wish that show had a proper ending. They shouldn't have ended with them getting arrested. What were you thinking, CW? Anyway, Chloe's obviously upset about this. Barb says she thinks those nice people are trying to take their picture. Barb says, "All right, Hank, it's time to do it. The tumbleman's twist, flip, throw." Hank says, "That's their trick so hard they've never gotten it right before." Barb says, "Today is the day. They both know this was happening since they squeezed into these tights and hid them under their clothes." Okay? Again, how did that happen? Hank says, "Let's do it," and they start to do it when Chloe gets her revenge. Yeah, Chloe gets her revenge by taking off some things and making them trip and fall on them. Obviously, I agree with Chloe on that. That was a good move. Hank says his clavicle, and Barb says her back, and upset Chloe says, "Now can she have a turn?" Okay. Back in the A plot, we see Doggin eating other people's foods. The savior of the episode of this A plot. The savior of this A plot, Mrs. Wong, tells Doggin to stop and just stop that ruckus. Phoebe and the gang show up, and Mrs. Wong locks Doggin in her office. The script says bathroom because I thought it was a bathroom, but it's actually Mrs. Wong's office. Mrs. Wong says, "Don't worry, she's the cops. Don't worry, customers. She's the cops' problem now." Oh, I love doing the Mrs. Wong voice. Hopefully it's not offensive, but it's just Mrs. Wong's voice. Mrs. Wong says, "Putties," and Nora says, "Oh no!" Yeah, if this episode's gonna be terrible, I can make a terrible Home Alone face meme. Yeah. Blob is gonna come back and find out that they got his dog arrested. Phoebe says, "Don't worry, Fun Phoebe's got this." Phoebe says they don't need Fun Phoebe. They need Fun Phoebe right now. They need Barb Jr. Phoebe says she thought they didn't like Barb Jr. Nora says they never said that. They just don't like her. They never said they didn't like her. Billy says at least Barb Jr. looks out for them. And Phoebe says, "Bob Jr.'s got a plan, don't you know?" Yeah. Meanwhile, back in the B plot, which is way better than the A plot. Even though an episode's bad, when I think the B plot is way better than the A plot. Because at least, yeah. Barb tells Chloe that years ago, her and Hank went undercover and joined the circus. Just roll with it to catch a villain. Hank says they caught more than a villain on a mission. They caught Tumble Fever. Barb says they also caught a real fever. That's because clowns don't wash their hands. Since having them, since having them kids in these classes is their only chances to get their tumble on. Hank says they got carried away and forgot the real reason why they're there for Chloe. And Barb literally gives Barb, this scene is literally so creepy. Barb touched Chloe's chin and said, Barb touched Chloe's chin and says, what does Chloe say? Does she feel like doing gymnastics? And I was like, step away from her chin, Barb. You're an adult in a room full of kids. That could look a bit perverted or a bit adultery. Like if that guy saw that, if the guy didn't know that was Chloe's parents, he could think that Barb's trying to do something terrible to Chloe. Like, literally, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, that's kind of creepy, just touching your kid's chin like that. It could be just me, but I'm creeped out by you, Barb. Yeah, Barb creepingly says, what did Chloe say? They're sorry. By touching Chloe's chin, says, what does she say, like feeling more gymnastics? Chloe says, can she do it with the thundermans? And Hank says, sure. He just wishes they could have a costume for her. Cut to Chloe wearing their costume. It's never, and that's the background of this video, because I couldn't choose whether it was the first scene or this scene. I chose this scene because it boggles the mind how they were able to just cut to Chloe wearing that costume. How? We'll never know. And it's... Yeah. Barb says a tumbleman is always prepared. Except for Hank. Hank would remember that if you hadn't gotten clown fever. Hank says, alright, guy, this is it. Let him give him the tumbleman twist throw. Which Hank couldn't perform with just him and Barb, but now that Chloe's there, he can for some reason, now he can acceptably finish it. How? He and Barb couldn't do it, but him and Chloe can. Barb and Chloe can. That's just terrible writing. That's just terrible writing. Or it could just be me not liking this episode. Wow, this episode. I thought Afraid of the Park was bad. No, Afraid of the Park is better than this crap. I thought Afraid of the Park was terrible. No. This episode on a rewatch is way worse than Afraid of the Park. I went to Afraid of the Park actually disliking it, but now I like it. I went into this episode liking it, but no. This episode is way worse than I thought it was. This episode could be the worst of the season. And this season's kind of not that good. Like, season 1 and 2, I think this season is pretty bad because it's kind of not like they get rid of Link randomly. Like, Chloe's not a main character yet. And they introduce a new character just to have her be just a pop-in character until next season where they're like, no, we want Chloe to be a main character. I still don't know why. But at least we're almost done. We're going on to the final season next season. Then we're going to the Thundermans movie. Then we'll start Young Sheldon. Then after that, we'll probably do the Thundermans sequel series between Young Sheldon. Then after Young Sheldon, we'll start Big Bang. Then after Big Bang, will be Actually, I think it'll be Young Sheldon, Georgie and Mandy's series, then Big Bang. But back to this show. Because people usually first do the Big Bang in release order because it was the first show. But I want to do it chronologically, which makes sense. Yeah. The Tumblemans do their... Hank says, let's give him the Tumbleman twist flip throw. Hank throws himself, Chloe and Barb into the air, and they spin upside down and land. Chloe says, they are the Tumblemans. End of the B-plot. I wish this B-plot continues so badly because the A-plot is terrible. Okay. I'm challenging you, A-plot. Back in the A-plot, the cops arrive to arrest Doggin. Phoebe says Barb Jr. is gonna keep them busy. Is gonna keep them busy as long as she can. Mrs. Wong says she has Loco Lucy trapped in her office. Phoebe says she brought Mrs. Wong cookies. Mrs. Wong says she loves cookies. But why? She hates Phoebe and her entire family. I need to laugh. Thank you, Mrs. Wong. You were amazing. This episode may be bad, but at least Mrs. Wong is here to make me laugh. Thank you, Mrs. Wong, and thank you, Helen Hong, for making this character reality. I know this is not the end of Mrs. Wong's character, but I just wanted to give Helen Hong a great role because she made Mrs. Wong the best character of this entire show, next to Max and Chloe. Yeah. Phoebe says she feels bad about what her dog did to a restaurant. Mrs. Wong says, Phoebe's dog? That's a crazy lady in there. Phoebe says, no, it's a dog. Phoebe distracts the cops with book talk when Max sneaks into Wong's office. Max says, it's a mess, and it wasn't his fault. It's hilarious. Doggin says, it was her, and Max says when they get home, he wants her to do it to Phoebe's room. Doggin says Phoebe's a butt. And Max says, let's go ignore him. Doggin steals the analyzer. They chase after her. She chases after them. But somehow they're able to get her back. They change her back as Mrs. Wong goes in there and sees the dog in her dog form. Meanwhile, back at the Thunder house, Hank and Barb are showing Blobbin their gymnastic skills. Blobbin says, ask for his dog. And Barb says the kids probably took her for a walk when they were gone. When they got home. That's when they get home. Nora says thanks for letting them take care of Doggin. Blobbin says no, thank you, as that was Doggin's happy face. No, that's her pie face, and they teleport away, with Blobbin asking what has Doggin eaten. Barb asks who's that woman on their family portrait. Max says, fun, Phoebe did it, and they run away. Phoebe then laughs, and they run away. Ending this episode. Okay. I have a lot of problems with this episode. I went, unlike with Are You Afraid of the Park, where I went into the episode kind of not liking it at first, but then realizing, it's not that bad. I went to this episode liking it, thinking, oh, this episode's going to be good, and absolutely disliking it by the end. This episode is not funny at all. Max's jokes Max, who is one of my favorite characters, is not even funny. Nicole Sullivan, who is known for playing funny roles and other things, guess what? Is not funny. There's even one scene where nothing happens and the laugh track just laughs. Like once a scene happens and they add the laugh track. Which is, I'm glad with Young Sheldon that the laugh track is not possible, because the writers of Young Sheldon allowed the show to be funny on its own without a laugh track. And it went for all of its run, for its 7-season run. And that's what I love about that show, is that they didn't allow a laugh track to ruin the scene. They allowed the show to be funny on its own. They didn't need a laugh track because laugh tracks aren't even a thing anymore. But they didn't need a laugh track to make the scene funny. They just let the scene play out and see if it got laughs or not. Obviously it did, and I laughed throughout that entire show. Even the series finale, even though that was sad, it made me laugh. We'll get to the entire show after this one. I plan on doing a whole Young Sheldon review series, because I love that show. But, yeah. But anyway, yeah. I'm just saying, Young Sheldon, pretty good. This episode, not so much. I don't get it. Like, the whole plot of the episode is, oh, they need to turn the analyzer to turn doggin human, and that's not funny. Like, Nicole Sullivan, I like her. I like her character. I like her. I do like her, but the thing is that I liked her in the episode, but the problem with her is that what she was given was not funny. The show's meant to be a comedy, but there was no comedic moments. Like, dog, she's just a dog. That's the entire plot of her character. She's just a dog. So yeah, this episode, maybe my least favorite episode of the season, and the only thing that saved it was kind of the B plot, but that kind of fell apart at the end with the whole, oh, Chloe miraculously gets a gymnastic costume off screen, just cuts to her having one. We don't even know where Barb and Hank just got there someplace, and they made Chloe one out of nowhere. The B plot kind of fell apart after that, but at least it was better than the A plot. But anyway, yeah. So next time we have another Allison and Max episode where Max is pranking again, but Allison wants him to stop. But when a mysterious prankster, obviously it has to be Max, just pranks Bradford, Wolfgang gets in trouble for it. So now Max has to hide Wolfgang while also trying to avoid Bradford. In the B plot, Phoebe, Chloe, Billy, and Nora decide to try to be friends with Mrs. Wong to see if they can actually be nice with her. Obviously, they learn that she's only doing it to impress a PDA, so they have to show that PDA who Mrs. Wong really is, that she really doesn't like kids. But anyway, all that and more on the next episode of my next review of thundermans. Oh my, this episode's terrible. Please, that next episode actually be good. There's no dogging, there's no unfunny scenes, even though there's a weird consistency because by next episode, 6 months have passed between episode 13 and episode 16. Max and Phoebe, Max and Allison have already been dating for 6 months now. I know that production code, episode 16 is episode 21, but still. See you next time.